Hello creators, welcome back. It's great to see you again for another Video Creators podcast episode. Also live stream here at youtube.com/video creators, and it's great to see you all again. I want to talk with you guys about some of the stuff that we normally talk about, including things that impact our viewership and subscribership and retention and the revenue that we're generating from what we're doing on YouTube. And today I want to focus in, kind of narrow in on one of the tools that YouTube provides to us that lets us accomplish a lot of those things really a lot easier. And it's a tool that a lot of people they use it, but they're just kind of throwing it on their videos as an afterthought and not really as an intentional thing of like, this is a strategic way of how I'm going to use this tool to actually grow my channel and get more viewership and increase watch time and session time and all that. So we're going to dive into all that here with you guys today, because YouTube only provides 2 tools that allow us to do that. And I want to make sure that you guys get them both right. So we're talking about that here today. But first of all, welcome all of you guys who are in the live chat here. As we're streaming this live, we're going to be answering a lot of your questions like we normally do at the end when I'm done. I want to go through this really quickly because I want to spend most of my time kind of interacting with you guys, answering your questions. But Laura, my producer, is in the chat, and she will be taking your questions. So anytime something comes up and you have like a question, that's something in here just kind of jogs for you, please feel free to put that in the chat, and Laura will put that in front of me, and we will answer as many of them as we can here at the end. And if you're listening to the recording of this later, we'd love to have you join us every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time at youtube.com/video creators. That's when I live stream these, and you can join a few hundred other creators who are in the chat, who are interacting with each other, answering questions for each other, and it's just really fun to see you guys who are watching this live, the community that you guys have become, and those of you who keep coming back, and I'm like, hey, it's good to see you again, So that's really cool. So I want to invite you guys who are listening to the replay to come back and join us at some point. But in case you're new around here and we haven't met, real briefly, I started YouTube back in 2006 as a way of primarily introducing my girlfriend at the time to my family back home across the country. And I wanted them to get to know her a little bit, and this was pre-Facebook days or stuff. So started making little videos that today would be known as vlogs, but back then it was just being awkward in public with a camera, right? And we make these little videos, post them on YouTube, and it was just for my family. But then other people started watching as well, and I started trying to be like, during the MySpace days, you get really nervous and scared if someone's like watching your content and someone was watching you online and they weren't like someone you knew in real life, because back then we were like, people would track us down and kill us for some reason, right? So I got really nervous. I was like, what's going on here? Who are these people? Why are they watching? What keeps them coming back? And that's when I really started diving in, and other people didn't have answers for me. They're like, Tim, we don't know. This thing's brand new, but if you figure it out, let us know, because we're trying to figure that out too. And so that's what kind of prompted me to start diving down this path of how does YouTube work, and why do people watch, and what brings them coming back, or what gets them to come back. And then a few years later, YouTube introduced this money thing, a partner program that was invite only. And I remember getting a friend of mine who I was helping with on their channel, because they were trying to figure a lot of this stuff out. They did have access to someone directly at YouTube. They got me into the partner program when it was like invite only, and that was like, oh, I remember that day. It was so amazing. And then just kind of fast forward to here we are today. Now, I guess there's 10 people on my team, and we all work together, just continuing to answer those same questions for people like yourself through live streams and content like this, weekly videos on our YouTube channel. And we work with a lot of clients and do a lot of mentoring in different things like video labs, and people we work with on a more intimate, ongoing basis, one-on-one as well. And so far to date, our team has collectively helped the people that we work with generate over 14 billion views, 61 million subscribers, and we've done YouTube strategy for Disney, HBO, Budweiser, Century 21, eBay. I don't really know, losing a lot of them, and it's been a real blast. And so some of those clients, not the ones I just mentioned, but some of the clients that we work with, we've been doing a lot of things with how do we optimize their end screens. And this is really, really important, guys, because let's say there was a way that I could tell you, which I'm going to tell you, but what if I could tell you that like there's one thing that you do, and if you do this one thing, you can get 38% more watch time and viewership and subscribership and return visits and everything on your channel without getting one additional viewer. What if there was a way like you can take the viewership that you already have and not do not change anything other than like maybe one or two simple things we'll talk about here, and you get 38% more watch time? What do you think would happen on your channel if that happened? I'll tell you what happened, because we have clients that's exactly what happened. It blows up. The channel just starts growing like crazy. And I know if, you're like, oh no, Tim, there's not like one or two buttons that'll just do that. No, these aren't buttons. These are things that you're going to have to craft and figure out over time. But I want to give you a process specifically about how to use end screens that will help you get higher click-through rates on the next video and get the people who are your most valuable viewers, the people who have watched all the way to the end of one video to get to the end screens, have given you a maximum amount of watch time, and now you're going to get that person to click and watch another one, give you maximum amount of watch time on another video, and then click and watch another one, and you're just going to be getting like maximum amount of watch time per video, but also increasing the viewing session, while also the more that happens, the more likely those videos are to start becoming suggested to each other and related to each other, which gives you even more spin-off traffic and more watch time and more session time. Woo, guys, this is stuff's really big. It can make a big difference. And so it's not really rocket science. We'll walk you through it. And we're going to talk about how do we really promote some of these main signals that YouTube considers when determining how and who and when they're going to surface a video, and that is session watch time. So let's talk about that real quick. What is session watch time? Just real briefly, because I want to spend most of my time answering your questions. So session watch time, there's a couple of different things, three main things that YouTube kind of tends to look for. One, what videos bring people back to YouTube? That's measured in the industry is called session starts, although YouTube doesn't really give you any metrics on that specifically, other than traffic from the homepage, which are arguably starts, but not necessarily. And then they have watch time, which is, well, just how much time does someone spend watching this, this video? And then 3 is a session watch time. Well, how does this video contribute to a viewer's overall viewing session? If we surface this video, do they spend 2 more minutes on YouTube, or do they spend 30 more minutes on YouTube? YouTube's goal is to get people to come back to YouTube, spending as much time on the platform as possible, seeing as many ads as possible, right? Engaging with as many channels and content and videos and things as possible. That's their goal. And so YouTube only gives us 2 tools that we can use to impact the viewing session and really like moderate what do they watch next. And one of them is what we talked about last week. So if you missed that live stream or that episode, go back and listen to how to optimize your playlists for maximum watch time. Really, 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 really important. Okay, that session. But today we're going to focus on the second tool, and the only other tool they provide that lets us do that, which are end screens. Now, if you're not familiar with them, end screens is like if you get to the end of a video and there's like a little interactive piece there on the video itself where you can click. You can put like subscribe buttons, you can put playlists, you can put links to other videos. You can have YouTube choose what video they put there that's best for the viewer. You can you can put a link to Patreon or whatever you want, external links as well. It's just like, what action do you want the viewer to take next as a result of watching this content? And well, unfortunately, what most people do is they kind of just end the video and then they kind of just throw on these end screens at the end, just kind of like, hey, there's a spot here. And then so they play some music for, 20 seconds and kind of just have the stuff there. The problem with that is your click-through rate is going to be very, 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 very low. And you're just kind of like, people are going to abandon the video before they even get to the end screens anyway. So they're not even going to see them. A normal-ish click-through rate is like 0.7% to 1%, something like that. But if you do some of the things we're going to talk about here, 38% click-through rate is not unheard of. You guys can get over a third of the people to keep clicking and keep watching, which is really, really valuable. So the way I want you to think about this is not in terms of overall traffic, but in terms of where's our most valuable viewer and how do we really blow up that traffic source that they're coming from. And if you look in your YouTube analytics and you look at your traffic sources and sort it by average view duration, if you're doing it right, your top average view duration should be coming from playlists and end screens. And it makes sense because, again, those are the only tools you have to influence the average viewing session. So how do you get more people to click into a playlist where they can watch multiple videos, or click onto an end screen where they can watch another additional video? And so there's a few things in regards to playlists. I'm going to talk you through 3 things and then kind of give you a little bonus one as well about really how to optimize these and set up your end screens for success. So the first thing you have to do, and I think it goes without saying, but sometimes not, so we should probably just state it so that we're all on the same page. It doesn't matter principle number 1, it doesn't matter what you do to your end screens if people aren't watching when they come on the screen in the first place. Right? So like you can do everything we're about to go into about how to optimize the click-through rate, get more watch time, more views, more subscribers, higher engagement, all that. But you got to get people to the end screens in the first place. And so the goal that I would recommend that you shoot for, just as like a starting point, is can I get 50% retention at the end of my video? So not 50% average overall, but when I look at that audience retention graph in my analytics and I hover my mouse all the way to the end, is it still 50%? So half the people who click play, are they still watching when that video ends? Very important. And the reason for that is because now you're getting a decent amount of watch time on that video. It's like Google's like, oh, okay, this is actually a pretty good video. This is a decent piece of content. And there's something here that's, got some value. We should surface this and promote this to more people. But then when people get to the end and they click and watch another video, now YouTube is like, oh, like this is keeping people on YouTube even longer, and people are going to keep watching this. So it makes it like this is like 2 things that Google's looking for. We can do this by 1, crafting content that keeps people to the end of the video, and then once they get there, how to get them to click and watch another one. And so focus on 50% retention at the end of your videos and really optimize your story and your tutorials or whatever it is that you have in order to really make it easy for people to continue to keep watching there. Okay? The second thing then is once you get half the people who click play to the end of your video, the second thing that needs to happen is you have to get people to click. You actually, it doesn't matter if just showing screens doesn't actually help you. You need to take the initiative to get people to click and keep watching. So how do you do that? Well, 1, people need to be there when the end screens come on. So what we just talked about. But then 2, you need to have the end screens intentionally come on, usually while you're still delivering content. So it's not so you need to avoid giving any signals to the viewer that hey, this video is over. You may safely abandon this video now. So don't say anything like, hey guys, hope this was helpful, or hey, comment below, let me know what you think, or a big mistake a lot of especially educational type channels make is they recap and they repeat themselves a few times and so just to reiterate, and then people are like, oh, I got it, I'm out, nothing like that. So you are continuing to deliver value. You're still delivering value. The end screens come on, so people are still there when they come on screen. And then you have to get people to click. So how to get people to click? Two ideas for you, and there's others, but these are kind of 2 main ones. First one's for an entertainment type channel. The second one's for educational type channel. So this entertainment type channel, one of the things that we've seen that works well is if the story is still continuing. And remember, you only get 20 seconds at the end of the video to show your end screen. And so because you only have 20 seconds, you got to do all this really fast. So the first 5-ish seconds, the content maybe moves into a separate corner or something of the screen, and the content is just wraps up really fast and gives no signal that the video's over. Just kind of ends a little bit abruptly, and people are kind of going what? It's over? Why is it over? I wanted more. And you're like, exactly. Yes, click and keep going. So you don't need to do any sign-offs. It's not television where there's a new show coming on right after that. You don't need to wrap it up. People can keep watching you on YouTube, and that's an advantage you have, so we need to treat this platform differently than television in that regard. And so you get the first 5 seconds, your end screen comes on, the content is just kind of about to end, and then you get 10, 15 seconds or so. And for an entertainment type of channel like gaming or vlogging or comedy or pranks or whatever the case might be, and then it seems to work best to show a quick trailer for the next video you want someone to watch in that corner. And then there's a little arrow on screen that points to click here. Oops, sorry, I keep tapping my microphone. Click here, right? And so people are like, whoa, what is this? And then that trailer just ends in like a cliffhanger, or just like ends at the climax, or really sets up this thing, and people are like, whoa, what just happened? And then they can click to kind of keep watching. For more educational type videos, and would be like the category I'm in. So if you watch any of my more recent videos, you see me doing this, which is no sign-offs, no hope, like let me know what you think or anything. I get straight into the action I want someone to take, which is to watch another video. And so I will actually have a little space next to me, and I'll give a little pitch for what the next video that I want them to watch. And so it'll be something more like now to take this to the next level, what you really need to do is optimize your thumbnails for mobile, which is harder than it sounds. So I put together a short playlist for you guys. You can click right here on your screen, tap it. It's only a few videos. I'm going to teach you guys how to really take this to the next level so that you're not wasting all the time and energy trying to get views, but you're keeping them on your channel. So click there, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And then I just kind of end it, right? And so there's a sales tactic that says if you talk about the product or service from the perspective as if someone's already made that purchase, they're more likely to actually make that transaction because they're picturing themselves with it. And they're like, oh yeah, like this is what life would be like if I had it or whatever. You're doing the same principle, but with video, which is don't let them go. Just talk with, like, you assume they're going to keep going with you, and they are more likely to actually keep going with you if you just talk that way. And then I'm also pointing to where the space where I know that I'm going to put that end screen for them to click on later. I'm telling them click here. It's a call to action, and then I give a little pitch for it. And if you notice, I actually didn't just pitch a video. I pitched a brief playlist, because playlists are the other tool that I use, like we talked about last week, that can increase the viewing session as well. So click right here for a brief playlist on, give it a pitch, and then I'll just see you guys in that next video. And just talk that way, and your click-through rate is going to go up way higher when you do that kind of thing, and you're going to get people into those. Now, the third principle to consider, and then I'll give you a bonus, and then we'll jump into your questions. So if you haven't asked them yet, ask them in the chat now. Laura will get them in front of me, and we'll dive into them. The third thing is it's also worth experimenting. That's the third thing. Experiment. Play. At that point, you should play with the design, play with the layout, experiment with like using one call to action, maybe two call to actions. I've found that one works better than two every time. Just pick the most important thing you want the viewer to do. In my opinion, that's watch another video, because as we established last week and even mentioned briefly here, you get more watch time, more session time. You're going to be more likely to be suggested to that viewer for like the next week or so on the homepage for them. Like YouTube's just going to follow them around with your content, and that's more valuable than just getting someone to passively click a red button to subscribe. Right. So play around with the design, play around with the layout, your call to actions, how you do the pitch, and you start doing some of these things, you can get that up to 38% click-through rate, the highest I've seen it. I'm sure it's probably higher some places, but and then the bonus is, like I mentioned, is to not just give people another video to watch, but give them a short playlist to watch instead. And get them into a brief, consumable, not like 14 videos, not like 100 videos, but here's 3, here's 2, here's 5, like really short videos. That's really going to help you. People are more likely to be like, oh yeah, I got time for a few videos, as opposed to like 15. It's probably going to be a little less likely that they're going to get through each of those videos. So put together a short playlist, give it a good title that's just as enticing as like the way you would title a video. Not like, don't title those playlists as like a category or something, like vlogs, cooking, live streams, or whatever. Like, don't title anything like that. Just actually pitch good value with the title of the playlist and get people to click and watch another one. All right. Let's dive into some questions. You guys got a bunch of them. First of all, thank you. Welcome, Overall Buddies, for becoming a new channel member. And for those of you who aren't yet, I know we have a bunch of channel members here. I see Sailor Drew, Patty, Broussard's always here. Good to have you back again, Patty. But those members get access to like more in-depth trainings that I do, usually about once a month. And those archives are listed there for you guys. And it's only $4.99 a month. month, you get access to like the most in-depth, comprehensive, process-driven types of content, like how to 150x your revenue with a business plan, how to accelerate your channel growth, and a lot of other things. And yeah, so Aloria's Art is here, also a channel member. So welcome, Aloria. So yeah, welcome overall, buddies. Good to have you. Okay, and so then we got another question, super chat question. Thank you, UK Northern Adventures. What about videos without voice, Tim? If it's just all music and no voice, then I would do the same. Like, I would put that in the entertainment category in terms of just doing a quick trailer for the next video you want them to watch and going that way. So if you can't verbally give a pitch, or just it's not appropriate for you to do so or something, then you need to, then I would just do just a quick trailer and a little arrow that says click here or watch here, and that arrow points to the interactive piece where someone can click and actually watch it. Sailor Drew, yeah, so we do have, as part of the channel membership, we do a weekly live stream where people can call in. It's just exclusive for members only, and we can talk here. Like, you can call in and talk to me on the live stream, and I can help you work through your issues. We do those typically once a month, and I don't have the next one scheduled yet. So, but as a member, you'll get access to that. I will post that on our community tab, and you should get a notification about it too. And if you don't have notifications enabled already, and I'll have more information about that coming up here probably the next week or two. Let's see here. So Sailor Drew also asked, if you're more of an episodic channel, like a Let's Play channel, how can you do a trailer for the next video, especially since annotations don't work anymore? So I'm not necessarily talking about doing a trailer for the next video. I'm talking about pointing them back to an older video that already does exist. Now, in your case, if you're talking about like the next video that's coming, the way I do that, like on my series, how they got 1 million subscribers, at the end of that, in that case, I just have a space where that I know that next video in the next episode is going to be, and I just put text in that space says coming next Thursday, or coming tomorrow, or whatever the case might be. And so when my subscribers are watching that video right when the video is published, they see like, okay, it's coming tomorrow. Oh, okay, it's coming next week. Then once tomorrow or next week comes and that next episode is published, then I go back to the previous video and I update that end screen, and then I add the end screen there to point to the next video, and then it makes sense. So it seems a little bit weird. Like, well, what about the people who are watching that week? Aren't they going to be confused when they see you pitching the next video? Or how do I even pitch it if I don't know what that video is going to be yet? And so, yeah, it's a little bit harder, but like the way I do it is I just kind of like, I know what the topic is anyway for the next piece of content. And so I'll just like have a little pitch for the topic and tell them to click right here. And for a week or so, there will be people who are like, I can't click right there. And oh, it says it's coming next Thursday. Okay, I'll wait till next Thursday. Yeah, and so those people aren't really confused, but the video is going to live on much longer, hopefully, if you're doing your channel. Like this video is going to be performing for years, and so whatever you lose in like the first week or so, I don't think is like a big deal. Glory B TV's in chat. Hey, good to see you, Glory. She's in Video Labs right now. I just noticed your thing. So what did you say? I've been doing that with my end screen since taking your Video Labs course. I'm still delivering content within the last 20 seconds when the end screen pops up. Last 10 seconds, I do the CTR. So I think you mean CTA. CTR is click-through rate. CTA is call to action. So yeah, last 10 seconds, you do the call to action. Thanks, Tim. Yeah, totally. You got it. Good to see you, Glory. And welcome another channel member, Jonathan and Lexi, and Talia Zimmer. Welcome both of you guys. Good to have you. Okay, let's see here. Let's go to the next question. Johnson Family Farmstead. Should you show a snippet of a clip before you put it in the best for viewer and sub button? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm glad you brought this up. I know what you mean. So basically what you're asking is, should we, the best for viewer and sub button are two other interactive elements you can add to the end of the video. I personally don't use either of them. The best for, if you're just going to passively add something to your end screen, use best for viewer and let YouTube pick the option, to optimize that and show the best option to that viewer. But I think if you actually give a, I don't think I know, if you actually give a pitch and point and tell people to click on this or give a short video trailer for what when they click on, your click-through rate is going to be much higher than just passively putting best for viewer. So I have actually stopped using best for viewer and the sub button in my analytics, and most people I've seen, very few people click on that sub thing to make it actually worth it for me to use that precious screen real estate for that. And so I found it the best value to get the best juice for the squeeze is to get people watching a video into a viewing session I've curated for them based on the thing that they just watched. Now, obviously test this, guys. Just because that's what works for me and a lot of other channels doesn't mean it works. That's like what's best collectively across the board for everyone. But if you haven't tested anything, I would say try testing what we're talking about here first, and then kind of go from there. Dinosaur Adventures, end screens. Ask templates or just have overlays. How about outtakes during the end screens? Yeah, you can do outtakes if that helps hold people's attention there when the end screens are present on screen for people to click on. Just keep in mind that like when you edit that you're planning for an end screen to be there, so it's not covering up something important and kind of like making people lose the point of the blooper or whatever it is. I'm not sure what you mean by templates, because there's a couple of different things you can mean by that. Templates in terms of like YouTube has templates built in that you can just click and apply to your video. Or a template based in the sense of like have a normal template end slate that I edit into my video where I have my custom layout and design. That's personally how I do it. And then for each video I upload, since the end screen layout's always the same, I just import the previous end screen into the newest video there on YouTube, and then I click the little pencil icon to update what video is being shown in that space. So that's how I do it. Jenny and Alex. Hey Tim, new subscriber here. I'm wondering if we should let YouTube recommend the next video at the end screen, or should we guide the viewer to a playlist? Our channel has vlogs, food, dog, so it's a variety. I try both, and try. My experience is like guiding the viewer and intentionally pitching and getting them into a short playlist. That works better in terms of click-through rate and watch time, but try it, see what happens. Do a few videos both ways and then look at your data and see what happens. If you haven't experimented with my method yet, I'd recommend it, but if it doesn't work, it's not for everyone necessarily. You can try it. You can always go back and change those later if you'd like. MBS Travel and Photography says, is it bad to always use the same end screen? Yeah, I mean, you're probably not going to get too much click-through rate if you're always showing people the same exact thing. It's a little bit harder to, like, once people click, and then the next video, why would they need to click and watch again or do something again? So the template or the layout of the design can be fine, but I think you should if you're not using best for viewer, I think that's the best passive way to do it, but that's not going to get you 38% click-through rate. That might take you from what I've seen, might get you from like 1% click-through rate to like 2 or 3, maybe 5. But yeah, I would be like, what's the next best video on my channel that someone should watch as a result of watching this video, and then help them keep going. Paul Elico. I'm sorry. This should be a thing that should be a whole new live stream where I just like mess up people's names because I feel like every stream I'm like, I'm sorry. Okay. Should the final screen contain a subscription icon? Is it better to put older movies or new ones on the final screen? Look at your data. See like how many people are actually subscribing from that thing. My guess is it's going to be pretty low. There's another subscription button right below it. And I personally have found it better to use another video or a playlist. Not multiple, just one interactive thing on the screen. You can, I do have two, like mine are like the next video I want someone to watch. And then there is passively on screen a little pitch for my ebook called The Secret to Building Your YouTube Audience, where people can sign up for my email list and get that free ebook. But I never call it out. I'm never pointing to it. It's just kind of passively there on screen. And it's something that I am just kind of like leaving there for people who do want to click and keep watching. Sarah Dawn asks, I'm making tutorials and I was thinking of embedding them on my blog. Will end screens and click through take them off of my blog? So should I do one for the blog and one for YouTube directly? That's a good question, Sarah Dawn. My impression is that it does take them off of your blog from an embedded view, but I actually don't know. I haven't tested that. I can maybe test it real quick because at videocreators.com, on my website, we embed videos. And I can maybe test that real quick here. But my impression is that, my guess is that, let's try it real quick. Let me click play here. I'll go to the end, it's embedded, and I click it. Yeah, so I thought. It does open up into another, it takes them off of YouTube. But it opens up in a separate tab, so they're not necessarily leaving YouTube or leaving your blog. So they are still kind of on your blog. It just depends on what's more important to you. You know, if YouTube is really, I would say it's more valuable to get someone to watch another video, but it does take someone from your website. And so if it's more important for you to have someone click through and watch more videos on your website, then that could be a thing. But then also consider like, well, what are you missing out on in terms of organic traffic on YouTube that video could be having too? So even though it does take people away from your blog, I would probably continue to do it. But I'm sure there's arguments for the opposite, for the other way of doing it, depending what your goals are and things. Another question from Paul Elico. If I put a movie from another channel on the end screen, do I need their permission? Yeah, I would. Like if you're using copyrighted material that's not yours, then I would definitely consider getting permission just as a respect thing, if nothing else. Thinking how can we change the size of an end screen element? Good question. So when you add the interactive pieces, and by the way, I probably should have done this at the very beginning, but I just didn't. If you're not sure even how to get to the end screen thing I'm talking about, and when we go do it in Beta Studio, because everything's switching that direction, I can walk you through it by memory from the old, like the classic version here. But in Beta Studio, you go to your videos and on the left sidebar, and then once you're in there, just click on click on the video you want to update. And then from there, where'd it go? They keep moving things around. You guys are going to have to, it's not where I thought it was. I'm still learning the new Beta Studio. Well, let's go in Classic. It's pretty easy. So in Classic, you just click on like the video in the video manager. There's a little drop down menu under it that says edit, but click on that little arrow. And when you click on that arrow, you can just select end screens and annotations. And then once you do that, then you can be in that box that lets you lets you add the interactive elements. You just click the little drop down menu there that says like add element, and then you can select from a video or playlist or a subscription or a channel or a link or something. Yeah, okay, I'm glad the rest of you in the chat don't feel bad about Studio. Things keep moving, it keeps updating, and I'm still learning a lot of that stuff too. But you can still definitely do it in Classic. And that's where you would add it. So to resize it, you can once you add that element to that end screen element, there's a little blue box that gives you like, here's the border for it. And what they're trying to do, if you notice, is they don't let you put them too close to the top, because in an embedded video, if someone mouses over, the title can like come down and cover it. And they don't let you too close to the bottom because, again, the play bar comes up from the bottom or covers the bottom part. So they don't want you trying to click on one thing and accidentally clicking the other. So basically, they just kind of give you like the middle section there to put them. And to resize it, just hover your mouse over that element into the little corner, and your mouse turns into like arrows that let you click and resize it. Now you can't make it super small and you can't make it super big. You don't get a whole lot of wiggle room there with it, but that's how you can reposition them and resize them on your screen. Amaracia. Is there a way to do end screens using only a mobile device? I don't think so. No, I think it's got to be desktop. I hear that it's coming, but I don't think you can do it on mobile yet. I could be wrong about that. Maybe if you kind of like use the Chrome browser and switch it to desktop view, maybe you could get away with it. I haven't tried it, but even then it sounds like it would be kind of like frustrating to use, and I would probably just wait until I get to a computer. Via YouTubers, if the video is performing well, will editing the end screen negatively affect its performance? Only if you take off a video that has a high click-through rate. So if you have a video that's performing well and there's currently no end screen on it, then yes, go add an end screen to it. Usually I should say, will not have a negative impact. It'll just have a positive one. SP Tech Plus, how do you increase audience retention as a voiceover channel? Oh, well, that's an entirely different question that has a lot of different variables to consider. So we'll save that one for another time maybe. But yeah, the thing, just generally speaking though, is like I get a lot of this question a lot. Is like, how do I do this? How do I get more views and then they fill in whatever their genre is, as a cooking channel, as a vlogging channel, as a gaming channel, as a business channel, as a local retail store chain, right? And I've done, I'm just shy, I'm getting close to doing over 1,000 channel consultations with creators, and we work with a lot of other ones, my team, and I have never seen a situation where like one channel needs to follow a different set of rules for growth than another channel. The principles are all the same, and I found like typically what they're actually asking is, I don't know how to translate this principle for my channel. I don't know how to translate this principle for what I'm doing. I don't know how to make the connection between following this process for what I'm doing. And so I've usually found that it just kind of needs a little bit more explanation and a little bit more guidance through the process than it is like a different process. So when you're watching, or listening to content like this, it's not like, oh, well, I can see how that applies to them, but I don't know how it applies to me. The stuff like we've talked about today and usually talk about apply to cross genres, cross value props, target audiences and everything. It's more in just like people, it's like, how do you implement it? Okay. So, yeah, hopefully that helps. Nobi the Cool asks, how do you put a website in your end screen? So you need to be part of the partner program on YouTube. So if you're not already, don't have monetization enabled, you don't have access to that yet. But once you have monetization enabled, then you can link to a verified website, which would be typically a domain that you have control over, either in Google Webmaster Tools or it's not, Google Search Console now is what it's called. So you claim your domain there, and then then you can go ahead and verify that URL for linking from interactive cards and end screens there. So once you're in the partner program, then you have access to be able to do that. And I think the place you do that is, let me just off the top of my head, I think it's youtube.com/advanced_settings. Am I correct? Yes, I'm correct. Look at that. I got it right. So youtube.com/advanced_settings. Halfway down the page, you'll see associated website. And that's where you can associate your channel with a website and be able to use that URL with your end screens and interactive cards. 2+3. Should you use the entire 20 seconds or whatever it is the system allows for the end screen, or keep it shorter and sweet? It depends. I typically on video creators use the full 20 seconds because I find for me to wrap up the content and do the pitch, that's about how long it takes. But if you're doing like a quick trailer, like on my family's channel, for example, like we can do 10 seconds sometimes pretty easily. It's not a big deal either. So there's not a right or wrong way. I usually default to using the full 20 seconds, but you don't have to necessarily. Travel tips Ireland. Can you link someone else's video in your end screen if on the same subject? Absolutely. Yeah, watch the video I did last week. It's actually what I, in the past, actually, last few weeks. And what I did is I told you guys, like, here's a principle on how to tell a better story that gets more watch time. Like last week's is how to create the perfect vlog. And I walk you through 7 questions that you should ask before you start shooting. And it's not just about for vlogging, it's really any video, but I named it that way so that the vlogging people specifically would click and watch. And so at the end of that video, I point people actually to Casey Neistat and like, take these 7 questions and answer each one exactly in this order as Casey answers them in this video, because it's the exact same process he follows, and it's worked very well for him. Obviously, 10 million whatever subscribers with the stories that he's telling, and so it's kind of like, here's your homework assignment. Watch this video and apply it to that. And so that can work. I mean, linking to other people's videos is very appropriate, and you can do that too. Handy Hudsonite. What is your strategy when it comes to updating old end screens? So once I kind of do a pitch, it's a little bit harder to go back and update it. So once I've made the pitch and I've told people that, like, I made a specific playlist that's just for, like, optimized for that video and that audience, and there's really, I don't have a lot of wiggle room to update it, except for maybe tweaking that playlist and the videos that are in the playlist and what order they're in, based on, like we talked about last week, based on the playlist exit rate, and making it easier for people to stay and watch that longer. But my older content where I was using annotations, easily so go back, take out the annotations, and add the end screens, because annotations in old technology is not supported anymore. No one uses it. It doesn't even work on most devices. So that's easy. But other than that, I don't feel myself kind of like watching a lot and going back and updating a whole lot. Now, sometimes, like, I'll have my producer or a strategist on my team kind of look through and do that kind of stuff, but it takes a lot of work, and I haven't found the benefit to be especially significant to be worth the amount of work that it takes. Handy Hudsonite also asks, what about end screens when viewing on a mobile browser because they don't show up unless they're on the YouTube app? Any strategy for that situation? Yeah, just I know that used to be true. Is that still true? I don't know. I haven't checked it for a while. I would have assumed by now that YouTube would have fixed that. It might depend on what browser they're using too, like if they're using Safari versus Chrome or something on their mobile. So I'm not. It's been a while since I checked on that. But even, let's just assume that it is true. It still is true, which it very well might be. Then I would still add them there, because most of your traffic probably isn't coming from mobile browsers. It's probably coming from an app or desktop or something like that, where they are, and even television, they're interactive. You can use your remote and click on the next video to watch. So most places they're interactive, so I would go with that. Green Shorts DIY. Hey Tom, thanks for the super chat. Said, I always forget to ask myself questions before I hit record. Thanks for the reminder. You're welcome. Yeah. Watch that video for last week about the perfect vlog. Ask those 7 questions, and then also know ahead of time, like, what video are you going to pitch, or what playlist are you going to pitch when that video ends, so that you can shoot that part too. Jonathan and Lexi, from your experience, how many people stay through the end slate? How many? If you're talking percentages, it really fluctuates. That's what I said in the beginning. Like, you got to optimize your content, and the goal I would set is 50% retention when that video ends. Can you still have 50% of them still there and watching? That's the goal. Like, for me anyway. And when I see that when channels consistently start getting 50% of their audience to the end of the video, clicking and watching another video and another video, like, that's when the channels really just take off. Beanhole123, polls or end screens, which is better? They're both great, just different tools for different objectives. So if you want interaction, like you want people to give feedback on something, use a poll. But poll is an interactive card. An end screen is like an actual element that's persistent, that stays on screen, that people can click. So I think they're different. You don't put you probably wouldn't put a poll on your end screen, although I suppose you could. But they'd have to click on that pretty quick and get to it. So depends on what you want. Well, next week we're gonna have a treat for you guys. We're gonna have a special guest. And Justin is going to be from Primal Video, will be joining us, and we're going to dive into a topic with you guys. But in the meantime, if you're listening to the recording of this, I would love it if you'd take like a minute or two, leave us a star rating and a review on iTunes. That really does help us out and helps other people discover this content that we're doing our best to provide for you guys. And if you're watching the YouTube channel here, if you're not already subscribed, got videos coming out for you guys every week. And this year we're focusing on helping you guys tell better stories, which is get more watch time, views, engagement, emotional connection, branding, and everything. Like, how do you really optimize the content that you're actually producing to hold people's attention so they actually love everything you're producing? Spending time on that. And we're also spending time talking about the revenue side, about how do you actually grow a business around your channel. So we got more content coming about that, as well as the stuff that we normally have been talking about traditionally in the past video creators, which is the YouTube strategy side. And this type of thing here today would fall into the YouTube strategy side. So looking forward to diving in more with you guys here the next couple of weeks. If you're not subscribed, you can find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify. Search for Video Creators. Follow along, listen to, and these live streams now, they go away after they're done. You can't watch them later on the channel. So I make them unlisted right away for some reasons I've been experimenting with on my channel. And so you either hear the live stream or you get the podcast. Those are the only two ways to get it. So subscribe here, turn on notifications to join us live so you can ask your questions and join us, or grab the audio version in any of those places I just mentioned. And thank you, Laura, for producing this and hanging out and being a part of this and making sure I get all the questions answered as quickly as possible. And I will see all of you guys next week for another Video Creators Podcast episode. See you guys then. Bye.